all I set out to do here was make some defences for my signal interceptor, and what I ended up with was the railroad completely coming out of hiding and building a brand new HQ at Starlight Drive In. I've pushed the PS4 pretty much as far as it will go with this one. Also, I've hidden one of every bobblehead in the video, just a bit of fun really. Some of them are very, very hard to spot, but they are all there if you look hard enough. I always make more than a couple of save files whenever I'm making a build this big, and this time I was finally vindicated because I managed to corrupt one of those files. Not sure if it was because it was too big or if it was because of mods, but yeah, one of my files was completely corrupted. We've got our own barbershop here, and this is our reconstructive surgery room, and I don't know about you, but I don't think it looks very trustworthy. We've got our own memory den where Deacon spends most of his time. Some areas would have had a lot more decoration if the PS4 could actually handle it. I did have to stop because I was starting to get concerned that I would lose everything. At the front I've gone and built a weapon shop, fairly routine, just something I felt I had to include. And on the other side there is an arm shop, and that pretty much concludes the ground floor. The floor above that, I've put in a mezzanine floor around the interceptor. We're going to need a lot of hardware to get into the Institute, and I've filled this place with as much detail as I can, and I've made it as varied as I possibly can with the limitations of the PS4. And there actually are a reasonable amount of decent mods for the PS4. So opposite that, at the front of the building, I've built the obligatory bar slash diner. It's fairly big, got a well stocked bar and kitchen. So we'll just check that out and then we'll move on up. And this place might look quite empty. There are over 30 people here. They just tend to hide whenever I'm trying to record. The settler AI is the only thing that really grinds my gears when it comes to this sort of thing. Above the bar is a little lounge area that I threw together, and next to that, this is where most of my frame rate has gone. This is the main research centre. Every item that you can see has been placed down individually, and as usual you can get a look at the mods that I've used in the video description. And I'm having to move the camera very, very slowly here. My frame rate really is quite shot. I mean, you can see I'm not even moving that quick here, and it is quite blurry. That's not even close to as bad as it gets in this place. In this area here is where we create our railroad propaganda. Got a lot of desks with typewriters, and we have our own printing press. And I've put another half mezzanine floor in the middle here as maintenance access to the top of the interceptor. Outside on this floor I've built out a little area for a firing range so we can test out our experimental weapons. Right, next floor up now, and I've built a clinic at the front of the building. And next to that I've built a gym which no one seems to be using. Seems that everybody in the railroad is very lazy. And on the far side we have a cafeteria, and another example of me getting a little bit carried away with the decorations, but I think the little details are what makes it for me. I don't like building big structures with lots of empty space in it. And that brings us to the top floor, the living quarters, and there is quite a bit of space up here. I managed to get quite a lot of bedrooms in, as well as a couple of nice little lounge areas. We have a laundry room. I tried to have everything that you would feasibly need in order to live here, and I've given the bathrooms the quintessential nautical theme. And I managed to cram in quite a lot of bedrooms on this floor, and I've made them as unique and individual as I can. So just going to do a quick run through of each one. Now we're outside the building, and there is actually quite a lot going on outside as well. This is the front of the building, where we have a tank that we reclaimed from somewhere. We have a water tower, and these two military transports that kind of look like sad clowns. And this area here ended up being left to the traders. I daren't add any more to this place. Got this platform from the airport thanks to a mod with a couple of power armor stations on. Once again, every item you see has been placed down individually. And this little thing is a little miniature robot construction warehouse where we can build our robot army to take on the Institute. This side of the building also has an elevator that runs up the outside up to the 4th floor. It goes up and it goes down as well. Incredible. And luck would have it that the building lined up perfectly with the drive-through screen, cinema screen that was there. Complete accident. And I was able to build a little escape route onto the top of it, which is also quick access to the roof. And these two buildings behind the screen that couldn't be scrapped turned into a maintenance / gardening room and a miniature armory. Behind that, in the corner, we have our little garden where we grow our crops. And as you can see here, the other side of the building didn't end up having as much space. But you may have noticed that I have built a guard tower in all four corners. So it wasn't enough to just have a roof. No, I had to get carried away there as well. I built a crane. We've got a little capsule security office. On the left and right side, we've got the raised slanted roofs with the platforms on top. Space for some pretty heavy defences. And I couldn't resist having the vertibird landing bay on the roof. And we've got this little area underneath for the flight team, who, just like everybody else here, doesn't want to be around when I'm recording. And just to show how overboard I went, this was an earlier save file. At this point I thought I was nearly finished, and all I wanted to do was add some decent defences and maybe a couple of bunks or something. But you can see the difference in frame rate here. If you look at the sparks and the smoke, the difference between this and the finished settlement.
All right, feeding our baby some juice. Let's see what she's got. Oh man, don't worry. That's all part of the plan. We got it.
Find a way to save her.
And as most of you will know, the signal interceptor is a one-shot deal, so as soon as I've used it, it will be destroyed. So we can scrap it and we can build our own Liberty Prime. I don't think it looks quite as good as the interceptor, but it does help out my frame rate a little bit. It doesn't hurt the frame rate quite as much, and there's also a lot of space here that I can build into as well. I intentionally made this place so it could easily be altered. So I might have gone a little bit overboard, but I'm pretty sure it's better than where they were living before. An underground burial site with no toilets. I checked and all I found was buckets.
Do you know what makes you special?